Before we actually begin, I'm going to have to tell you a story I heard. Uh, President Obama and Michelle and Vice President Biden were on an airplane going to some function to politic, and they were just kind of kicking back there. And Michelle said to Barack, she says, "You know, if I was to throw $100 bill out this window, I'd make somebody really happy." And the president thought for a minute, and he says, "Well, you know, if I threw 10 $100 bills out the window, I'd make 10 people really happy." And Vice President Biden, not to be outdone, said, "Well, you know, if I was to take $100 bills and throw them out the window, I'd make 100 people really, really happy." And the pilot leaned over to the co-pilot and he says, "Do you hear those big shots back there? If I threw them all out of the window, I'd make millions of people happy." That one's good. I'll tell you the other one, then we'll get started. By the way, I'm Mike Telford. I'm a precinct committeeman and one of the members of the county central committee. Been asked to open the meeting tonight, and I appreciate that. And we're happy that you're all here. The other story I've got to tell you is President Obama was walked into a bank and needed to cash a check, and he went up to the teller and he says, "I need to cash this check. I need a little cash." And the teller said, "Well, I'm sorry, but you know, with all these regulations that we've had in the last few years, and they just keep coming and coming, I'm going to have to see some ID." And he said, "Well, I don't have any with me. Surely you know who I am." He says, "Yes, I know who you are. You're the President of the United States, but I still have to see some ID." And he says, "Well, I don't have any." And she said, "Well, Tiger Woods came in here a week ago and needed to cash a check, and he forgot his ID too. So we set up a cup at the end of the hall, had him take his putter and putt right into that cup, proved he was Tiger Woods, and we cashed his check." So if you can think of something that you can do to prove that you're the President of the United States, we'll cash your check. And he thought for a long time. And finally he said, "I can't think of anything I can do." She thought, "Yeah, that's about right. Do you want small bill or large?" We'd like to open our this is really kind of a neat event, this Pie in Politics, and it's been going along for quite a while in the county, and I hope it just keeps going and going and going. It's been a great deal, but you have to stay to the end to get any pie. So the pie will be at the end. We'd like to start tonight by asking one of our precinct committeemen, Terry Zeck, to offer an opening prayer. Terry? And that will be followed by Phil Knepp leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our Father in heaven, we're thankful this evening to be able to assemble as friends, neighbors, residents of Lincoln County and southern Idaho. We're thankful, Father, for the many freedoms that we enjoy in this great nation, for the freedoms and opportunities that are ours. We're thankful to live in southern Idaho, for the quality of life that we enjoy. We're thankful, Father, for the election process. We ask that we might be mindful and that we might select those candidates that best reflect our values, that honor and respect the Constitution and honor and value our way of life here in southern Idaho. We ask that we'll enjoy this evening, Father, that we might gain information that will help us, that'll be instructive to us. And this we say in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Phil?
Everybody stand and follow me in the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. A couple of reminders of upcoming events. Don't forget the primary election is next Tuesday on the 17th. Those of us that get those absentee ballots, we have to have them in by then too, but we can also hand them in anytime before that. Our Republican reorganization meeting for Lincoln County, which is our Central Committee reorganization meeting, is going to be here in this building on Wednesday, the 25th at 8 p.m. and everyone's invited to that. I'd like to just tell you who read the names, and you don't have to stand or anything, but just so you know who the current committee consists of. There's Rusty Parker, Betty Pyman, myself, Mike Piper, Crystal Naylor, Alex Sutter, Brian Cheney, Philip Knepp, and Terry Zach. And on the you'll see on the ballot that to be a precinct committeeman, you have to be elected, and you only get replaced if you find somebody else to take the job. So, but you'll see these names on the ballot: Rusty Parker, Valerie Verdi. I hope I said that right. Myself, Mike Piper, and Terry Zach. I'd like to introduce. Where's Mike? Mike Smith. He is the superintendent. Tell him he's on. He's the superintendent of the Richfield School District, and he is going to be our moderator for the debate, and he'll announce what's going to happen. Those uncontested races are going to, any candidate that's here that's in an uncontested race in the Republican side will get a minute to speak to us and give us a little background, and then we'll have this the one big contested race in our county, of course, is the sheriff's race, and we'll get a debate. So help me welcome and thank him for coming and doing this, Mr. Mike Smith. You're on. They're still getting the questions? Well, let's go ahead and do you need to review those? Okay, let's go ahead and start with the uncontested candidates speaking while Mike's bringing people in. And where's Alex? He's in there working on the questions too. I'm just going to start over here, and I'm not sure who we all are, except for our Senate candidate, Dale. Would you like to come up and take your minute and to start with, and we'll do this while we're waiting for Mike to come in. Rebecca Wood will follow him, and then we'll see where we're at.
Thank you, Mike. My name is Dale Ewerson. I'm a resident of Bellevue, businessman. And I had 2 minutes planned. We're going to shoot this in 1 minute. 6 policy positions that I feel very strongly about. Number 1, small business. The private sector drives the American economy, not government spending. Secondly, firearms ownership. The Second Amendment is a critical part of our American heritage. My third support item here, private property rights. Citizens need protection against overreaching government, such as the Waters of the United States EPA proposed rule that would like to regulate the puddles in your driveway. Agriculture security laws, number 4. Dairies, ranches, and farms should be protected from secret filming on their premises. The right to life. My opinion is that human life begins at conception, and abortion should only be allowed if the mother's life is in danger or the pregnancy was caused by rape. And my final point on immigration. The security of ourselves, Idaho citizens, is a priority. Immigrants from certain nations in the Middle East must be thoroughly vetted, although I do not support closing the CSI Refugee Center. Thank you for your time this evening. I appreciate it.
This part you're supposed to do, Mike, so I'll turn it to you as soon as Rebecca's done. So we've heard of 2 from the non-contested after Rebecca.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rebecca Wood, and I am currently your Lincoln County Commissioner for District 2. I'd like to just start by thanking you all for voting me into this position. It has been a crazy year and a half of education. It's hard to tell you all the extent of everything that a county commissioner faces on a daily basis. I've been very lucky to have 2 county commissioners that have been great in my education, plus the entire state has been very helpful with any questions I may have. Not only do I sit on the county commissioner board, but I also sit on the Rural 4 Development Board. I'm on the Fair Board as a liaison. I'm also on the South Central District Board. I'm also on a state land board. So we see a lot of things every day come up. As a county commissioner, we kind of see the good, the bad, and the ugly in our county, and I can tell you that our county is a great place, and I love it. I've raised 6 kids here in Lincoln County. 4 of them have already graduated from Richfield High School, and 2 of them are currently attending, 1 about to graduate. And if anybody tells you that we don't have opportunities here in Lincoln County, I will tell you that they're very wrong. As the mom of a teacher, an ag business major, 2 aerospace engineers majors, and a budding biologist, I can tell you that in Lincoln County, we can do anything here, and we have the opportunities. I'd like to continue to see us grow economically and have more technical opportunities for our children. I would like to invite you all to a county commissioner meeting to see what we deal with. And thank you all for coming out, and I hope I can look for your vote on Tuesday.
Thank you, Rebecca. Our next non-contested candidate will be Alex Sutter.
Thank you. I'm kind of wearing 2 hats tonight. I just want to thank you real quick for coming and participating in this and being a part of the process. I'm running for the state legislature, House B, seat B, for the legislature. And since we pared this down to a minute, I just want to share a couple of things with you that if you want to get involved, that you can. One, you can get to know all these candidates through meeting with them, talking with them, going to their websites, Facebook, and all those types of things. The way you can get involved, though, of course, there's always putting up a sign. We love you if you knock doors, but that's a little tougher one for some people. But also going to our Facebook pages and liking them. We get the word out that way. It's a great way and a cheap way for us to be able to do that. I have cards in the back that have 3 ways that you can help. Like, invite, and share my Facebook page, visit my website and join our newsletter, and fill out an absentee ballot request form and help someone else to do that. One of the big pushes this year is the absentee ballots. We want to be able to bank votes early, particularly in this district. It's very difficult. So if you'd like to know more on how you can get involved, please contact one of us. I'm grateful to be running with Steve Miller, who you're going to hear from in a minute, and Dale Ewerson on the legislative side, and it's going to be a great year for us. So again, thanks for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Sutter. Our next non-contested candidate is Steve Miller.
Well, howdy. I was ready for 3 minutes, so 1 minute's going to get used just a little bit. I'll do my best. I'm Steve Miller. I'm from Fairfield. We have a family farm and ranch up there. I'm currently your legislator from this district for Seat A. My committees are JFAC, Ag Affairs, Agricultural Affairs, and Resources and Conservation. Those are committees that are well suited to this community, to our whole district. JFAC, as you know, Joint Finance, is actually one of the most powerful committees in the legislature, and we're lucky that I was able to secure a seat on there. The Speaker treated us very well because of the district we're in, And I'm able to do a lot of things to help out in ways that aren't very public. So if you'd ever like to talk about any of those things, I'd be glad to share it with you. I am elected. I have been there 4 years, so I've got a record. If there's any part of that record you'd like to talk about, I'd enjoy talking about it with you. I've got a good record on education, which is a big item in most people. We've all got kids and grandkids, and we're concerned about that. Aquifer recharge has been one that I've worked on a lot. The settlement within the water call coming together has been one I've spent a lot of time on. And as the call we're having going through the process again up here on the Big Wood as a part of that. And I'll make sure that the state steps up and does their part as a part of this settlement that we'll get to. There's a certain number of things, a certain amount of pain, it kind of seems like, that you got to go through to get there, but I'll help in any way I can to facilitate that process. I've supported Idaho as far as the wolf is concerned, as far as federal lands and that whole issue. My votes have been there, and I support that. And it's a logical, business-like manner that we can do that in. It isn't as wild as the naysayers say. We can do that, and we can make money in Idaho, and we can fund schools with some of that money. Regulation, as you know, in Idaho, we've got enough of it here, but it's the federal government that's eating our lunch. One of the things that I felt really good about this year was helping the dairies with NPDES. They're in a position now where they deal with Idaho, the Department of Ag. They don't have to deal with EPA. And anytime we can put that layer of insulation between Idaho residents and Idaho businesses and federal regulatory government, that's a good thing. That's a thing that we need to try to do. Two things that drive me philosophically: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's a promise of opportunity. That's not a guarantee of welfare. And we need to keep that in mind at all levels of government. At all levels of government. And I'd like to read, in closing, one quote from Abraham Lincoln. "We, the people, are the rightful masters of both Congress and the courts, not to overthrow the Constitution, but to overthrow the men who would pervert the Constitution." I appreciate your time tonight, and I ask for your vote this fall at the general election. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Miller. I missed it. Did Dave Davidson get to speak for Roy Hubert yet? Okay. I think he's probably next. So, Dave Davidson, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Roy couldn't be with us tonight. He had a passing in the family, so he wanted me.
Sure.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Roy couldn't be with us tonight, so he had asked me to speak in his behalf. He had a passing in his family, and he'd first like to apologize for not being here in person. Roy goes to state, he said, "I would like to thank everyone who has voted for me in the past election, serving the people of Lincoln County for the last 5 years. And I would just like 2 more good years to finish what we've started." I'd like to take a moment to give special thanks to our other 2 commissioners, Rebecca Wood and Cressley McConnell. Commissioner Wood has been amazing to work with, and she has been a real strength with her ability to analyze the needs of this county. Thank you. Commissioner McConnell has been most effective with his construction background and his just plain common sense approach to things. With that being said, I would like to respectfully ask for your vote on May 17th. Sincerely, Roy Hubert, Lincoln County Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we're going to go on with the. Okay, and please excuse Scott Paul for illness, so he won't be here. We're going to continue now with the contested candidates for Lincoln County Sheriff's Office. And the rules for this evening's debate. On the questions, you'll have, open questions, you'll have 1 minute to respond. And I'm a little fuzzy on this. So. Oh, you'll get 1 minute to open. I'm sorry. So you get a minute to make a general opening statement, and then when we get to the questions, you will have 1 minute to answer. And if a candidate up there has specifically asked you a question during their, you'll have 30 seconds for rebuttal. And then when we are, we'll take as many questions as we can within the time limit, and then you'll be allowed a 2-minute closing statement. We're going to be a little more, because I was a rookie and missed this, but you on the minute to speak, when you have 30 seconds left, I'm going to ring this bell. That was my first time with that, so that's what it's going to sound like. If you go beyond your time to speak, I've been instructed to keep ringing the bell as you talk, and it will cost you about $10. It's $10 if you go beyond that. And actually, that could be a little more for me in that too, if you want to go. No, I'm just kidding. So you'll have that time. At 30 seconds, when you have 30 seconds left to speak, you're going to get the bell. And when you've reached your minute, you're going to get the bell. And then if you continue beyond that, the bell just keeps going. There, how's that? There we go. So the order, this has been predetermined, but George J.R. Gregory will speak first, followed by Billy Irving, then Renee Rodriguez, and Verlin Southwick. And we'll start, after you speak, I will start by asking in that same order the first question, and then we'll just move down the line, and so you'll get a chance to respond first or later in that. And can you hear that without me holding my tie up? Awesome. I did misplace my pen, so I might want to know that. So I think we're ready to start? Okay, so we'll begin with the opening comments from George J.R. Gregory.
Hi, everybody. I'm J.R. Gregory. I'm running for sheriff this candidacy. I want to bring to your attention my experience and my training. My experience is I have 13 years of experience in law enforcement. Started in the jail and worked on up to a lieutenant. Can you hear me back there? Okay. I worked up to a lieutenant. My training has over 2,000 hours of training. In that training, I have, here we go, I have 167 hours of administration and supervision as far as classes go, knowing how to handle a deputy and know how to handle problems that come up. I also have 509 hours of investigation skills with narcotics and 215 hours of investigations for children's crimes. I want to bring to your attention, I have solved 3 cold cases in our county, and I'm working on others. I'd appreciate your vote.
Next is Billy Irving.
Hi, I'm Bill Irving, and I'm actually running for sheriff as well. As Gregory stated, he has 13 years in law enforcement. He started at the same time as me. And I have 2,500 hours of training, and I've lived in Lincoln County since 2006 and 2006, 2007. And I worked for the Lincoln County Sheriff's Department and became a corporal about the 3rd year into that. Oh, sorry. I became a corporal about my 3rd year working with Lincoln County. I have, well, let's see, narcotics experience. I ran a canine. I had a DA license. I'm certified in the canine, and I also, well, I'm not very good at this speaking because I'm not really a politician, but I'd rather be a sheriff's deputy. I would really appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Is that what you're after? Huh? Is that what we're... Okay. Next speaker, Cresta McConnell.
I'm Cresley McConnell. You're currently your Lincoln County District 1 County Commissioner. I'm a longtime Lincoln County resident. I'm self-employed, part-time county commissioner. I work countless hours of volunteer work with search and rescue, the ambulance service. I'm also a deputy coroner. I'm a level 2 reserve deputy with areas of concentration, including laws of arrest, search and seizure, narcotics identification, probably most important, public and community relations. I have a zero tolerance on drugs, child endangerment, and violence of any kind. Our sheriff's department needs to be organized and efficient in handling local crime. Having lived in Lincoln County for over 40 years and personal interest in Lincoln County. So with that being said, I ask for your vote on May 17th for Lincoln County Sheriff's position. Thank you.
Renee Rodriguez.
Hello, my name is Rene Rodriguez, and I too have declared my candidacy for sheriff at the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office. The fundamental job of the sheriff and the sheriff's office is to uphold the Idaho Constitution, to enforce state and county laws, and to promote community safety. I do not and I will not take those responsibilities lightly. The sheriff's office will foster strong partnerships, allowing us to deliver the best criminal justice services at the lowest cost to taxpayers. My law enforcement background includes patrol and operations sergeant with the Shoshone Police Department. I was formerly a deputy with the Blaine County Sheriff's Office, where I gained an understanding of county policy, court security, and the detention and transport of individuals who are in custody. I have an advanced certificate from the Idaho Post Commission. I am a grant manager and administrator for the Shoshone Police Department, and I am currently a part-time deputy for Lincoln County Sheriff's Office. I'd appreciate your vote next week. Thank you.
And Verlin Southwick.
Evening, everybody. Thanks for coming out. It's nice to see everybody here to see what's going on. My name is Verlin Southwick. I'm running for sheriff. I've lived in Lincoln County since 1978, and at an early age, the bug for public service, law enforcement was instilled in me. My dad was in law enforcement for a long time. For 20 years, I was reserved for Lincoln County. I was also involved in emergency medical services and a member of the Lincoln County Search and Rescue. And I've seen a lot of things, and I've grown with this county and seen how people work together. In 2009, I went full-time for a while, and while I was full-time, I found that the way things were being done, I didn't really agree with, and was unable to make any effective changes, and that's why I moved on. You can't move on from the bug. When you have law enforcement in your blood, it's always there, and that's why I'm here running for sheriff, is so that I can make a difference in what goes on in our community to make it a better place for everybody that's here. Please vote on May 17th.
All right, we'll begin the question session, and please remember all of these questions have been submitted by the community, and the first person to field the question will be Mr. Gregory. What is your most significant or motivating reason for running for sheriff?
In our county, we have crimes that happen, and when they do happen, they're big crimes. That's my motivation, is to solve those crimes. I was a head investigator for the home invasion in Dietrich, solved that crime. I was also a head investigator for a child porn case here in Shoshone. I solved that crime. That went federally. That's my motivation, is to protect our kids, to protect our citizens, and I will continue to do that.
Okay. Do you need the question repeated, Billy? Or
What's that?
do you need the question? Would you like the question repeated? What is your most significant or motivating reason for running for sheriff?
Well, as Verlin said, the reason I left was a similar reasons. It wasn't going the way I thought it should be going. And for me, I'm about the community. You know, protect and serve is what we're here for. That's what we took the oath for. That's our job. Yes, people do things wrong and they go to jail or they get a ticket, but we don't have to be total jerks about it. And I think we need to change that, and we need to be more community minded and have the community help us help them, if that makes sense.
Cressley, would you like that repeated? You've got it. Okay.
Unless somebody else wants to hear the question again, I don't need it. Reason I'm running is community compassion. Public and community relations. That's what it's all about. Being law enforcement, a public servant to the individuals of Lincoln County, you've got to show some community compassion. I feel as our sheriff's department here in Lincoln County, we're falling short on that part of it. I'd also like to see a rebirth of the adherence to the values and morals of this great county desires. Yeah, you know, it's the sheriff department needs to hold some morals and ethics above all. And that's what we need to work on, is ethics. Thank you.
Mr. Rodriguez, sure. What is your most significant or motivating reason for running for sheriff?
I have been in Lincoln County for the past 3 years. In the past almost 3 years working with the Shoshone Police Department, it has allowed me to professionally develop and learn about the importance of community policing. That being said, I want to expand what we're doing in Shoshone into the county. I want to bring the business checks. I want to bring the data-driven approaches to crime and traffic safety, using information that is already there and available to further focus our patrol into certain areas that need it. And I believe we can do this, and that's a main reason is goes along with what everybody else is saying, the community policing aspect of it. And I have had the training to do it and implement these programs into the sheriff's office.
Verlin, would you like this repeated? Or
I've got it. Thank you.
All right.
I'm running for sheriff because this is my home. This is my community. Being involved in the emergency services most of my life, the desire to help people has always been there, and it always will be there. And I think this is the most effective way that I can continue with that. It's easy to be a law enforcement officer. You write a ticket, you arrest somebody, you move on. It's difficult to be a peace officer. And I think that's what we've been missing for the last bit, is that person who is willing to work with those they have to deal with to find the best solution for what they're trying to overcome, for the difficulty that they're having. And if we can work together as a community, we can become a better place to live, and we won't have to worry so much about the crime because it will take care of itself. Thanks.
Okay. All right. This round we'll start with Billy. And we would like you to be specific with this one. If you become sheriff, what would be your first order of business?
My first order of business is try to repair that rift between the community and the sheriff's department. The trust. That is, to me, that's bottom line, trust. If the community don't trust you, then are they going to call you? No, they're not. And if they do trust you, you can actually solve a whole lot more crimes and stuff with the help of the community. That's our eyes and ears. They actually are us.
Thank you. Cressley?
One thing, the first thing I'd probably start with, it's kind of a two-part question. One is interagency operations. This is 2016. We've put man on moon. We've done some great things in our country. Unfortunately, we cannot get our web pages to talk with Jerome County, to Twin Falls County, to Gooden County, Lincoln County. Puts every officer at risk. I've seen this personally, being a board member and a chairman of CERCOM. The other thing I would definitely do is I would, first question I'd ask my deputies is, can we work together? Sure, everybody can work together in harmony and create that community compassion.
Renee?
I'm going to implement when I become the sheriff is the data-driven approaches to crime and traffic safety. It's data-driven policing, using information to help us patrol around the county. There will be countywide daytime and nighttime business checks. This means deputies will be going into the stores during the day and associating with people and meeting people and greeting people to build that rapport between the businesses and the sheriff's office. There will be 24-hour law enforcement coverage throughout the county. There will be enhanced school safety and security details. Promote an atmosphere of interoperability with all other emergency responding agencies in the county. I know right now the Shoshone Police Department and the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office work well, and I'd like to expand that with the other emergency responding agencies, with the fire department, with EMS, and that will be done when I become sheriff.
Verlin?
The first order of business as sheriff will be to, as Billy said, rebuild the trust between the community members and the sheriff's office. We can't do our job effectively if we don't have the trust of the community. We need to be held accountable for the things that we do. We're responsible. We are held to the same laws that you are. We have to be accountable for the actions that we take. And when a community member comes to the sheriff's office and has a complaint or a concern, that will be taken seriously. It just won't go in one ear and out the other. We'll sit down and we'll figure it out. Because if we can rebuild that trust, we can have a better community.
JR?
Mr. Smith, I already heard the question, but I'm sure everybody else, after everybody's talked, let's hear the question again, just so everybody
If
has
you
it.
become sheriff, what would be your first order of business? And we'd like you to be specific.
Okay. First order of business is I believe that we need to have leadership in the sheriff's office in order to get the sheriff's office to the community and bring the community trust. We need leadership. I can bring that. The other thing is that the deputies that are currently in the sheriff's office, we need to do a background check on them because the new sheriff has no idea what we have as deputies. And if we have a complaint, I think that deputy needs to be on suspension until we get that complaint done. So the community knows that the sheriff's office is working towards getting the wires and the communication with the community again. One other thing that we need to do is we need to have programs that the community is involved in. And I would like to bring in the horse posse, sheriff's posse. So we have community help with search and rescue. A horse can run across this desert a whole lot faster than a pickup can to rescue someone on need. Those are some of my ideas. The other idea is the bell's ringing, so I will quit.
Cressley, we'll start with you on this third round of questioning. I've got it. I just said that. Are you currently and completely post-certified in the state of Idaho?
Now, that's a ironic question coming to me right off the bat. No, I am not. I'm a Reserve 2 level deputy. it has been questioned on whether I'm a deputy or if it was just a level 2 reserve or a reserve level 2 deputy. Paperwork does say it's a reserve level 2 officer. And we can split hairs on the difference between an officer and a deputy. It's a municipality, jurisdictional area. An officer does not leave the city limits. A deputy goes on beyond. If you're wanting to know if you have to be a postified to run for sheriff, no, you do not. Idaho Code 34-618 says you only have to be 4 things. 21, a U.S. citizen, live in the county for 1 year, and have the most votes on election day.
Renee, would you like the question repeated?
I am certified. I hold an advanced certificate with the Idaho Post Commission. I also have a level 1 detention certificate that's for jailers. I also have a basic certificate for Marine Patrol. That's for the waterways for magic, going out on magic and conducting patrols on bodies of water as well.
Berlin, would you like this repeated?
Sure.
All right. Are you currently and completely post-certified in the state of Idaho?
Yes, I am. Like Cresley said, though, the Office of Sheriff does not require that you have a post certification. The sheriff, once elected, receives his powers of arrest from the members of the community, and that's how he's able to function if he doesn't have a post certificate. I feel it's important to have experience and a background in law enforcement because it is helpful in dealing with the situations that arise.
JR.
Yes, I do. I have an intermediate certificate through Post. Also have an advanced SRO certificate, which means that I'm at the highest level that a school resource officer can hold. Basic for jailer. Like Billy said, we started in the jail together. We worked together. The other thing I want to bring up is that Post requires you to go to college. If I had college behind me, like basket weaving or auto body, I would have an advanced certificate.
Would you like to repeat?
I don't need it read.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm certified. Level 1 detention back in 2005. Basic certificate in 2006. Advanced certificate 2006 as well. Canine certificate 2007, 8.
Renee, you would be the first for this round. What do you think are the 3 biggest issues facing the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office?
I believe one of the issues is funding. Running a modern professional law enforcement agency costs money. However, I realize that as sheriff, I have to work within my budget and be financially and fiscally responsible. Using data-driven approaches to crime helps in maximizing the resources that will help deploy the resources where they need to be. Another thing would make it be a community-based problem-solving policing organization. I believe that working with our citizens and business community and identifying public safety issues which concern them. We will address these concerns head-on as a team with our citizens, and then the third, I believe, is public relations. We'll work together with our community to improve that public relations. Thank you.
The three most concerning issues facing the sheriff's office right now, I think, number one is a lack of leadership. Everybody sees the deputies kind of doing their own thing. You know, they go out, they do this, they do that, and there's not a lot of leadership going on in the sheriff's office, and that will change. The second thing that concerns the sheriff's office is we are a small county. Our funds are limited, and I think the sheriff's office has done a pretty good job working with the commissioners in the last bit to make sure that the deputies have the equipment they need and the funding that they need. And third, to go along with that, the biggest challenge that we face is bringing in good deputies when we have an opening. We're one of the lowest paid agencies in the state, and it's difficult to bring in people that want to stay and be here. We need to find people that love community, love the small area, and are willing to work for a smaller wage to get the job done.
JR?
So number one, we already talked about this leadership, and is that Mel?
No. False alarm.
I'm getting like kind of a sense of humor here, Mike, with your bell.
Not ambidextrous here at all.
Okay. All right, let's start over. So leadership, we need a leadership role in the sheriff's department. That means policies. I've wrote policies when I was a lieutenant. We have a policy book that's outdated. When I was a sergeant, it was in the 2004 was the only policy book we had. It didn't address cameras. Our policy said, this is our policy. That's what all we would hear. This is our policy, but it was never in black and white. I'm going to straighten that out. 2004 is way out. Number two is we need to bring the community together with the sheriff's office. That is a number one. Number two, and number three is we need to bring a detective. We have never had a detective in the sheriff's office. And how are we supposed to solve crimes without an experienced detective? Those are high priorities for our community to really look at.
Billy.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna beat this leadership thing to death, I'm sure. But yes, we do. We need leadership. They're lacking that in so many ways. The second thing I think they need to do is they need to do a better background check on who they bring in for our community. That just kills me. Sorry about that. And the third thing is, like Berlin said, we're the lowest paid in the state of Idaho. So how can we possibly bring people here? We need people that will mesh and gel with this community and be community people as well. That's hard to get on the low salaries that we have, but that's the three. Thank you.
Cressley?
Mr. Smith, would you repeat the question?
Absolutely. What do you think are the three biggest issues facing the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office?
I've kind of got an unfair advantage over these other guys. So I'm a county commissioner. One of the biggest things is litigation. Sheriff's Department's always going to have litigation. We have litigation going on right now. We need to try to curb that. Curbing it, that comes with community compassion. Once again, that's a different word for leadership. Administration and management is the only way to deal with that. The third thing, common sense. Wow. 2 words, very powerful. Common sense. Be compassionate to the person. Treat them like an individual. Give them respect. You'll get respect in return. Thank you.
This question. Berlin, we'll start with you for this question. Do you know how big the sheriff budget is? And do you have the track record and the experience to manage that amount of money?
When I was visiting with commissioners earlier, when I started this campaign, I take a look at the budget to see where it was at. It's close to $750,000 between salaries, vehicle expenses, operation budget, jail budget, fuel. It's important that that's managed wisely. Like I mentioned before, this is a small county. We have limited funds. We have to be frugal in what we do. It is nice to always have the best equipment, the greatest out there, the greatest and latest, but unfortunately, we don't get that. I will manage what we have to make sure that it goes where it needs to go so that the community benefits most from what we have.
Yeah. I have a two-part question. Would you like it repeated?
Yes, please.
Do you know how big the sheriff budget is? And do you have the track record and the experience to manage that amount of money?
Like Verlin said, it's $750,000. And thank you, Verlin. And in Wendell, I helped with the budget when I was a lieutenant. We had a $500,000 budget. We were always within budget or a little under. So we always gave money back to the commissioners or city council. The other thing I want to bring up is I'm not sure if anybody really knows this, but we spend over $100,000 on our inmates. What do we spend on our kids? That's where our deputies need to come up with wages. We need to have a cop in the school, officer in the school every day, from morning till afternoon at a different time. If we have an officer in the school at a different time, nobody knows when or why that officer's there. That's exactly why the school resource officer certificate that I hold will come in importance to that. Who's next, Mike?
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, I looked at the budget and I actually have a copy of it. And I'm actually having somebody show me how to do that. It's another agency, actually. Kimberly Agency is showing me how to do that. So hopefully I can get that taken care of as well.
Presley.
Once again, I think it's kind of an unfair question, but I'll go ahead and try it. Sheriff's budget is right around $777,000. $330,000 of it is in wages itself. Probably the biggest line we carry on there is the Board of Prisoners, which is right at $86,000. One thing we have done is contracted with Jerome Jail, which will end up pushing us up even into I think it's $105,000. So we definitely need to work on that budget. But yes, I do and can manage that budget. I manage the counties with 2 other commissioners. Thank you.
Renee?
For the past 2.5 years, I've been a sergeant with the Shoshone Police Department, and I have assisted the chief of police with managing the budget there. I understand that the bottom line is the bottom line, and just because there's money in the budget doesn't mean that we can spend it. We need to be fiscally responsible and frugal with our funds. We are responsible to the taxpayers, and I will manage the sheriff's office responsibly and openly to maintain your trust. Thank you.
Okay, we're starting back through, so I think we're back to you, JR. How do you plan to keep strong relations with neighboring agencies and build on and strengthen those relationships?
Fantastic. I love that question. I don't know how I got the first one too like that. So I'm already a reserve deputy in Gooding County. So the sheriff and I are really good friends. Worked for him when I was a detention officer. Jerome County, I'm also a reserve there. So I'm also have a relationship there. When we work down to Twin Falls, I've worked Twin Falls City and County together on a lot of investigations from their county to ours. The bad guy seems to cross lines. They don't care where our line is for our county. So I've gave information to Twin Falls. They've gave information to me. I've worked with the FBI, the DEA, the ATF, and they all know me by first name. I have their phone number on my phone, so I can call them anytime I want. I have that relationship already built.
Can you read that one more time? It's kind of a long one. Okay, Billy. How do you plan to keep strong relations with neighboring agencies and build on and strengthen those relationships?
As far as I know, there's good relationships with Jerome County, with Gooding County, Gooding City, Twin Falls County, Twin Falls City, Kimberly PD. I think they're all work well together. We call each other when we have a question. I just think we just continue to work with them the same way we have been working all along. I don't know if we can make it a worse thing, but we all get along well and we work well together. So I think that's the way to keep it going.
Cressley, you?
No, I'm good. The way we can continue to work together with our neighboring counties is an RMS system, a regional management system. Being with CERCOM, we're putting this together where all agencies with CERCOM are on the same management system. For instance, Lincoln County is with Sleuth, which is the name of an RMS system. CERCOM is with EIS. Kimberly's with Spillman. These management systems do not talk back and forth to each other. If we get an individual that's troublesome that likes to fight officers, it goes in, reports to Lincoln, Kimberly, even if this individual is picked up in Jerome. That's the officer safety and the interagency operations that I was talking about earlier on the question.
Renee, would you like this repeated or? Thank you. Okay.
I think the best way to continue working well with the other agencies is being professional, being known as a professional law enforcement agency, not just, oh, it's Lincoln County Sheriff's Office out in, Podunk, Idaho. No, we will be a professional law enforcement agency that other agencies will seek our assistance. And that's the way it is that we will be able to work with other agencies to be a professional law enforcement agency.
Verlin, would you like the question repeated?
Yes, please.
How do you plan to keep strong relations with neighboring agencies and build on and strengthen those relationships?
I think on the surface, Lincoln County has a strong relationship with the surrounding agencies. I think underneath, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. I talk with other deputies, other officers from different jurisdictions, and I really wouldn't repeat some of the things they say about Lincoln County. And that has to change. That will change with leadership. That will change with accountability so that they know when they're working with us that we won't do stupid things that might cause them issues, that might cause them a lawsuit. That's how we will work with other agencies to strengthen that relationship so that they know that when we call for their help or they call for our help, that they will get what they need.
All right, we'll start this next round of questions with Billy.
This is not my minute, right?
It's going to take a minute to read it. No, it isn't. This is an easy one.
Easy one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Many victims of crime in our county never hear what happens or what steps have been taken in investigation and follow up in the case. Do you think this is important? What would you do differently?
Why'd you give me that one? The community has a right to know, but on the other hand, if it's an ongoing investigation, things have to be kept under wraps. I mean, they have to be kept tight. That way, if there's some leads or something going on, it doesn't leak out, and that person that is a suspected whatever isn't tipped off and it goes away. But I do think that the community has the right to know, and at that point we would get an officer in charge to make statements. That way none of the particulars are leaked out and the suspect gets away. So that's where it goes.
I'm going to say it's kind of a mouthful. Many victims of crime in our county never hear what happens or what steps have been taken in Sorry.
I think the battery died.
Do you want to use this one for me? Use my
You got the principal voice. That's correct. I'm sorry, Mike. Can you answer the question?
Crime in our county never hear what happens or what steps have been taken in investigation and follow up in the case. Do you think this is important? What would you do differently?
Definitely. On a closed investigation, I do believe that the individuals, there can be closure. It can be brought out with a public records request. We don't have a newspaper here, although I don't know that you freely print stuff like that. Juvenile cases, a lot of them are closed. That will not come out no matter what happens. To bring, I'd like to see, if we do not have the background to do investigations, I'd like to see some outside investigations brought in. People that have lost individuals, that continue to lose individuals, deserve a right to know and have the best on finding out what's wrong, what's gone on. So that's where I stand. Training and education. Thank you.
Renee, would you like that repeated?
Please.
Many victims of crime in our county never hear what happens or what steps have been taken in investigation and follow up in the case. Do you think this is important? What would you do differently?
It's definitely important for the victim to know where we're at on investigations, where we're at on follow-up, and where we are in the legal justice system. I think it's important for them to know that there's certain items out there that are available to them. There's the Crime Victims Compensation Fund that'll help them with therapies and medical bills and whatnot. And this would be information that would be readily available to victims. Victims absolutely have the right to know where their case is completely, not just bits and details. If it's their case and they're the victim, they need to know where we're at where we're at on the process of the legal justice system.
One more time, please.
Sure. Many victims of crime in our county never hear what happens or what steps have been taken in investigation and follow up in the case. Do you think this is important? What would you do differently?
It's absolutely important for the people that you're working with, that you're helping to solve crimes for, know what's going on. Along with the lack of leadership that we've seen, there's been a breakdown in communication between the community and the sheriff's office, mostly on the sheriff's office side. We can't always share everything we know, but in the past, it seems the standard statement has been, oh, that's secret squirrel stuff. you don't need to know. We need to communicate with those we're working with those people we're trying to help. If we aren't communicating, they don't know if we're helping. And that can be the most frustrating thing, is to not know what's going on when you're having a difficult time. As sheriff, we will communicate with those people we're working with. We'll communicate with the community so that you know what's going on, so that you don't have to wonder and go, oh, what are they doing over there? Because you'll know. We'll share everything that we can.
JR.
You don't need to read it. I think everybody's got that. The victim is the most important person in a case. Being a lead investigator, I know that. They need to be notified once a week, and I've done that on all my cases once a week. I don't know if anybody knows, but the detectives in the Magic Valley has a meeting once a week, also once a month. If something comes up that you had a crime on, the detectives all get together and we all kind of share notes. There's some notes that we can't pass on to the public. There's some notes we can't pass on to other officers, but we can do with other detectives. The other thing is that the victim needs to know what is going on in the case to an extent of things that we can't tell, but we can tell them that we're still working on that case and that the information that we have is sensitive and we can't let them know, but we are working on that case. And that seemed to work very well with me on my cases. I know that the victims feel better when they get a call from the officer.
That was the second
I
one.
thought you had a nervous hand, Mike.
I do.
Okay, who's first?
Are we up to another question? I think that everybody's had a question. Haven't they? Can we start that with Bill? Okay, I think this next question we now will be starting with Cressley, a new question. How would you handle an armed rancher such as the incident in council?
That's a good question right there. First off, I believe that first off, if they had an angry bull, this deal in council, all you were doing was making that bull mad by shooting him with your little 9mm or your 45s. That rancher probably came down to put the bull down with a large rifle. We had a tough deal between the officers and the rancher, and it went bad. I would call the rancher to come and put down his own livestock. I would not try it with little guns that I have. Thank you.
Renee, would you like that repeated?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
I don't know the details of all the explicit details on the council shooting. That being said, it would be inappropriate for me to say what I would do different from them. What I would do is, you know, like Cresley said, call the rancher if the rancher is available to come put down the bull. And you do that not just by calling the rancher, but by meeting with the rancher beforehand, meeting, you know, all the ranchers in the area and communicating with them and letting them know that, you know, if stuff happens, we need to have a current phone number. We can get a hold of you or somebody that's responsible from your ranch that can come down and put an animal down. If we cannot get a hold of anybody, we need to make sure that we have the tools available to be able to do our job. And if that means putting down an animal, then we need to be able to have those tools available.
Berlin, would you like that repeated?
Okay. It's easy to Monday morning quarterback what happens out on a scene on an incident. With Facebook and all the ways to communicate we have today, it's easy to say I would have done this differently. Until you're there, you don't know what goes on. Somebody lost their life, and it's very unfortunate. Communicating and communication is absolute key when you're dealing with the public, especially in an angry situation. But I think personally that ego got involved, and that's why that happened. As deputies, we have to put our ego in check. We're there to treat everybody the same. We're there to make sure everybody has the same chance. And hopefully, nobody will have to lose their life after that.
JR?
Verlin's absolutely right. You can't Monday day quarterback on a situation that you weren't there. However, communication is what we are trained for as law enforcement, to go in and say, look, we have an issue here. We need to get it fixed. And the bull was property. We need to get a hold of the rancher. That's logical, common sense. As Cressley put, we use common sense. On every call that we take is common sense. With a bull out, who knows what happened, but it was unfortunately someone lost their life because somebody didn't communicate and somebody didn't use common sense.
Billy, would you like that repeated?
No, no, that's right. I knew one of the deputies that was actually involved in that. I worked with him before. He was new to that community. He didn't know anybody around. He didn't know who this gentleman was. Why not? I mean, he's new there. Why not meet the people? You know these people. If you know them, you can talk to them. But that's how he would do it.
This is our final question. Okay, this is our final question of the evening, and we'll begin with Renee Rodriguez. As sheriff, what will your policy be on body cameras and showing ID when requested?
Body cameras will be worn by all officers at all times. Anytime that a consensual encounter becomes something that becomes investigatory, that camera will come on. Anytime a traffic stop is initiated, that camera will come on. Anytime a deputy is dispatched to a call, that camera will come on and it'll stay on for the entirety of the call. As far as the ID, I've worked at agencies before where an ID was attached to the pocket flap with a clip, and I believe this is what we will be doing as well, to have that ID readily accessible. Right now, the Idaho State Police has in their policy that if a person asks for identification, the trooper will present the ID, and I believe we need to be held to the same standard as the Idaho State Police, and by having that ID accessible, we will be able to do that.
I've got it, thank you. That incident that you're referring to has gotten a lot of play in social media. Body cams are important. They protect the officer and they protect the people that they're dealing with. And as long as the budget allows, every deputy will have one and it will be used in every instance. As far as the ID goes, I don't see a problem with having an ID readily available so that if somebody does request it, they can be shown it. In today's society, it's pretty easy to put a rotating red light on your car and it makes people suspicious. I also think that it comes along with a little bit of common sense with the person you're dealing with, that they need to realize that if you're in full uniform with a badge and you're talking on the radio, you're probably a real officer. But we can work together and make sure it gets done the way it needs to.
JR, would you like that repeated?
No, I've got it.
Okay.
Well, once again, we're talking about policy that was just stated to us as this is how it's going to be. It's going to be wrote in the new policy book. And the policy is going to state whenever you're to a call, that camera will come on. So the jury can hear what's going on dispatch, and it won't shut off until the call is completely done. None of this on-off stuff. The second part of that question is an ID for an officer. I have taught several classes to teenage girls, and I've always told them if they have a question on an officer, ask for their ID. There's officer safety and there's public safety, and it should be a public safety. If you ask for an ID, you should be able to show it. If not, I personally carried my ID in the truck. I've jumped out of the truck and got my wallet wet. So if somebody asked that, they could call 911 and get on the radio at the same time and tell dispatch, hey, I have this person calling to check to see if I'm an officer. So either way, you have two outs there.
Would you like that repeated, Billy?
Yeah.
Okay. As sheriff, what will your policy be on body cameras and showing ID when requested?
On the body cam part, yeah, definite thing to happen. I've heard some of the guys' body cams have malfunctioned or maybe have been shut off. If that occurs, then there's going to be an investigation into that, because they don't just shut off by themselves unless the battery's dead. And if the battery dies while he's wearing it, then it's neglect on his equipment, and we'll work that route. But the ID thing, I think, is fabulous. I think that's the best. I mean, you ask them for their ID. I need your ID, your license, registration, insurance. How long does it take them to give you your license? 30 seconds. That's all it takes it to show them your ID.
Cressley, would you like that repeated, please?
No, I got it. Policies and procedures, that's one of my big issues as being a county commissioner. Body cams, the Lincoln County Sheriff's Department and any law enforcement has a different personnel policy manual than what the county has. Body cameras need to be, I ditto these guys. When you're on a call, that body cam needs to be on. It's a great investigating tool. It solved a lot of cases. The ID, boy, I'll tell you what, as sheriff, any young girl ever pulled over in Lincoln County, you call 911 and ask for the officer's ID. You know, that will be a policy of mine that will go in the policy manual. Thank you.
Computer, did we start?
So if we have a question for the guy that just spoke,
No, apparently not. Okay, so Renee got the first question. So would Verlin be put to closing?
I think
Okay.
we ought to be able to ask questions. I thought you said that before.
That's what I thought he said too.
No, if someone was speaking and mentioned one of the other candidates, then that other candidate would have a 30-second rebuttal, not a
So,
chance to
Can I
ask
just
questions.
say this?
No. Sorry.
Well, everybody was talking about calls.
So you're gonna do it anyway?
Well, yeah.
Do it anyway.
No. The Renee's turn.
We're
Good. Okay.
okay. Now, where we are, though, I believe, is at the closing 2 minutes. You may have an opportunity to have a closing statement here that's 2 minutes long. And when there's 30 seconds left, I'll ring the bell. And the next question would have gone to Verlin. So Verlin, you get to go first on the 2-minute closing. So we're finished with the question portion of the debate, and we're at the 2-minute closing. And when you have 30 seconds left, or as close as I can get to that, I will try to ring this bell. When your 2 minutes, we'll ring it again. Go ahead, Verlin.
Could you repeat the question? Again, I want to thank everybody for coming out. It's been enjoyable to listen to the other candidates and their thoughts on how we can improve the sheriff's office here in Lincoln County. It took a while to come to the decision that I wanted to run, because I knew that it was going to be a difficult job. The sheriff is not going to be able to step in and just be like, you know, business as usual. There are a lot of things that need to be repaired, a lot of things that need to be adjusted and fixed. And I look forward to that challenge. I love my community. I want to see my community prosper and grow. I don't want to see my community suffer because of the actions of the sheriff's office. We will make sure that you have the best deputies available to you, that you have the quickest response times that you can possibly have, and that you will have the best trained deputies to help you through the difficulties that you have. I love public service. I love emergency services. I love to be in the thick of it to help people out. And on May 17th, I hope you give me that opportunity.
JR, your closing statement, please.
I've noticed one thing tonight is we've all talked about public safety, leadership, and we've also talked about getting the community together. If you look at when I started this campaign back in July, that's my platform. And I stand by that. As a deputy when I was in Lincoln County, I stood by that, and I still do. There's several people that have benefited from my job. There's some benefits that the bad guy kind of had a bad rap. But I feel that if you're fair and consistent with everybody, you'll have a respect from everybody. I think that we can bring our community together as a sheriff's office and a community through programs that I run that I see that the community will benefit from. As a leadership, I have the training. As a detective, I have the training there too. I also have the stamina, the backbone that a sheriff needs to stand up to his deputies and tell them, look, you've done wrong and you're on suspension. And I believe that that's what needs to be done. I believe that our policy book needs to be written to where we have something in concrete, to where we can point at the deputy and say, you have broke this policy. I believe that our deputies should not and will not have the attitude that they have now, and I think that they need to be changed. Those are strong words, and I know I have friends that are deputies, and I have friends that also don't like me because I've taken a stand from the sheriff's office. I believe that we can go and we can make the sheriff's office something to be proud of and be the people's sheriff's office, not the sheriff being the sheriff's office. I think the people are what runs that sheriff's office.
Billy, your closing statement, please.
Okay, everybody says, you know, everybody's got the same ideas up here. We do. We need a new sheriff's, I'm not gonna say new. We need to fix the sheriff's department. And you guys right out here, every one of you right here, have that power to fix that. Okay? And I hope you heard everything everybody has to say and you take it to heart. No matter which one of you guys, of these guys you guys pick, we all have the same values because we need to make this community safe. This is our community. This is us. You guys are all of us. And there's no way that we're going to let that go. Not one of us up here is going to let that go. You know, I like these guys. I'm running against them and I want to beat them. But I cannot say a bad word about them. They're all going for the same thing that we need to do for this community. And the community is us. And like JR said, the community is us and we are the community. We're no better. We're no bigger. We're no badder. We're all one and the same. Thank you.
Cressler, your closing statement, please.
All right, thank you. Like I talked about earlier, we got cut off a little bit. We had our, I believe it was supposed to be a 2-minute opening, and then we reversed it to a 1-minute opening and a 2-minute closing. But I had some great stuff here I had wrote down that I'd like to finish up with. But, you know, as as your sheriff, one thing I definitely want to improve on is administration and management in this department. Our safety of this county, our children, our senior citizens, and everyone in between is a must. It has to come from the top, and that's going to take leadership. I have zero tolerance policy on drugs, child endangerment, and violence of any kind. Our sheriff's department needs to be organized and efficient in handling local crime. Having lived here in Lincoln County, this here is my home. It's everybody's home. I have a vested interest. I know every one of you. I'm going to see you at the grocery store. I'm going to see you at the Manhattan. We got to work together, and we got to come together. We got to bring the county together, and that's the tough part. That's not where we're at right now, and we definitely need to work together. Like I said earlier, I have a vested interest in this county, and I love this county. Thank you.
Renee, your closing statement, please.
Change is inevitable. It's going to come regardless on who you vote for next week. That being said, in the 3 years that I've spent here at the Shoshone Police Department, we have changed the stigma, that reputation that the Shoshone Police Department had. And working together with the Sheriff's Office and with the other agencies, we will continue to do that for the Sheriff's Office. We will change the reputation and the stigma that it has, and be a community policing, problem-solving policing organization. And we will treat everybody the way we want to be treated. We will treat everybody the way our mom would want to be treated if she was out there on the side of the road getting pulled over. That being said, I urge your support next week, next Tuesday, on May 17th. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our debate. I'd like to thank the candidates for being here tonight and sharing with us, and the audience for being here. And it's time for pie and ice cream. So there you go.